My name is Olive Bestvater. I am from Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan Treaty 6 territory. I've been playing music all my life. I'm currently in New Brunswick teaching violin for Sistema New Brunswick. So I was first diagnosed with depression when I was 14, pretty young, and then I was started on kind of like a psychiatry and medication journey that I put it into when I was 15. And that was sort of the beginning of my trajectory. I'm now 27, so it's been a minute since I was first aware. The way that I experience depression and anxiety, which I've recently been diagnosed with as well, is that it kind of puts this like wall of ice around my heart, and that makes it really difficult for me to connect with other people. It makes it so that I have a difficult time talking, asking for help, nurturing friendships, feeling, safe or comfortable around other people, and appreciating them or any of their efforts to get to know me. It just kind of makes it so that I'm closed off from the world. My anxiety affects me in a much more physical way, where I feel kind of like I have this bubble in my chest or sometimes in my stomach that could pop at any moment, and that makes me irritable, impatient, and kind of just, again, I don't want to be around anybody because I'm tense, really tense. So this has impacted my life hugely and all my relationships. It has impacted my studies a little bit, although I think for me, because my mental illnesses make me want to turn inward, sometimes my studies have actually been a really sort of catharsis for me because I can focus on that instead of what's going on in my mind, heart, and body. Though sometimes, in my last semester of my undergraduate degree, I had to drop a class because I was going through a hard time and I couldn't cope, and I was falling behind in my school because of it. My music journey started so young that I have a hard time tracking in myself how learning music has helped me in these various ways, especially with my behavior and relationships and ability to focus and concentrate. Now, as a music educator, I can absolutely tell you that I see firsthand how music improves people's ability to focus and concentrate. I teach kids and I teach adults and I teach youth, and across the board I see a difference from the beginning of their journey to the end of their journey in their ability to focus and concentrate, their capacity to memorize, to learn by ear, to pick up a tune, maybe in an improvisational setting. I feel like it's kind of indisputable, maybe that's a strong word, but music helps you learn for sure with memory and memory retention and learning comprehension. And for me, music has helped me learn other languages. I know this to be true. I actually just finished my master's degree in political science from the University of Quebec à Montréal, and I did this degree in French without much of a prior knowledge of French, and at many moments throughout that process I thought to myself, wow, it's really learning concertos, 10-page concertos, learning how to read music and transpose music, and music has really been the key anchor in all of my academic success, and I think music has been really the foundation for all of that stuff. Learning music has absolutely changed how I feel about myself. When I was learning classical music, I didn't always feel loved or accepted or appreciated, and it was something that sometimes I hid, which I wish that I could go back and tell my younger self, don't do that, you're amazing. So if you feel that way ever, like you're sneaking around with your classical music lessons because your friends are too cool, classical music is amazing, and being a classical musician is extremely cool, and I wish I had known that at the time. Anyway, though, when I started branching out into other genres and playing in local bands, those people helped me understand that my classical music training was like one of the coolest things about me, so it's like something that you dedicate all this time and energy into, and you feel passionate about it, and you know a lot about it, and that's really cool. And just having something that you tie yourself to like that, I think that is really powerful to have that for any person. That's what really makes a person feel cool, I think, is having something that defines them, something that they feel connected to and proud of. And so when I started understanding through other musicians that my classical upbringing was very special, that's when I started feeling pride about how much time and energy I had devoted to classical music training. young and old. It's very common. It's a lot more common than we realize. I am blessed to have particularly some women and non-binary folk in my life are comfortable talking about this. This is one thing that I really feel for men. I feel like men have a harder time talking about mental health issues, and I wish progress for men in this area, because talking about my mental health issues with the closest people in my life and having them express their own struggles has made such a big difference for me. Well, coincidentally, a lot of these people in my life who I talk to about my mental health problems are also musicians. People always joke about how musicians go through a breakup and then they write their best albums, you know. And unfortunately, I think that this is true for me. for a lot of people, it's because music has been for me this kind of like super presence that when I'm ready to play music after being low for a while, that's when I'm ready to kind of break through that wall of ice that covers up my heart and makes it hard for me to relate to the world and myself. I think for a lot of other musicians that's true, something that I've talked about with them. It's like you don't just necessarily go through something hard and then you play music. It's like you go through something hard and you kind of stew in it, and then when you're ready to play music, that's when you open up to all those feelings and all those emotions that you're experiencing, and they sort of flood through you and through your instrument and into the world. That's how we can start relating to each other again, is because we're ready to talk about those feelings or share them in some form. There's a lot of stuff that I can't talk about that I can sing about, that I can't talk about with even a single person that I love and trust, but I can sing about in front of an audience. And you know, that leads to conversations with total strangers that I would never have with even my close friends and family, because we're relating over this thing that neither of us necessarily has conversational capacity for, but we can do it through music. There's also a community aspect of this that I want to talk about, where a lot of the musicians that I know who have struggled with mental health issues have taken part in music education programs or become music educators, and how that has created for them a world of possibility that they might not otherwise have known. There are awesome camps like Girls Rock Camp and different kinds of music programs that, you know, allow people who have experienced benefits of music to like give back to their communities in ways that maybe they would be too anxious or too shy or too scared to otherwise participate in. And I have known musicians who have really benefited from being able to do that, being able to be part of a social bond. So yeah, music has impacted many of my colleagues and friends who struggle with mental health problems, not only for themselves, but in creating social bonds. For sure, because for me, classical music has been the gateway to every other kind of music. Learning classical music has given me all the tools that I need to learn how to play the violin. It's developed my ear training so that I can learn other things. Like guitar and mandolin, you know, that I've never had a guitar lesson, I've never had a mandolin lesson, but my capacity to play violin and learn music theory and learn how to read music has opened up just, oh my gosh, countless doors for me. I'm here today in New Brunswick because of classical music. None of my coping mechanisms musically would exist if it weren't for classical music. You know, I would say rent a guitar for a week, rent a mandolin or ukulele, and look up some tutorials online and just see what happens. I would also say that, you know, for beginners, a really important part of the process is to lower your expectations and be super gentle and patient with yourself while still dedicating a regular amount of time each day to trying to pursue something. You know, and it's actually just amazing to see the gratification of learning something really simple. You know, we don't have to music doesn't happen overnight. You don't have to be an expert to really love what you're doing. So I would say, you know, there's a million barriers to being able to participate in music education programs. If there's one in your area that seeks to eradicate barriers like Sistema does, I would definitely encourage you to check it out and see if anybody can answer your questions. But if there aren't any, first of all, that's not your fault that there are barriers to pursuing music. And if there's somebody you can borrow, you know, any instrument that you're curious about, I would say even if there's no program, jump in. Jump in with whatever means you can and just see what happens. Like I said, I have a really awesome little group of friends, mostly women and some non-binary folks, who feel comfortable talking about their experiences with anxiety and depression and ADHD. And music is something that we connect over really awesome. We're sending each other playlists, we're sending each other favorite songs. There are my depression playlists that are actually intended to just allow me to feel my depression, make me cry, let some of that stuff out so that I can start coming out of it. Then there are playlists that I have that, you know, I want to clean my house to, I want to not think about my depression, I want to like bounce around. Those are my like Angel Olsen, like, you know, kind of like girl pop playlist. I would like to just emphasize that music is not therapy and therapy is not music. Music therapy is therapy. Music is therapeutic for sure, hands down. But I do think that for me, the best results have happened when I have embraced therapy and I have embraced music together instead of trying to swap one for the other. I think also maybe for people who are nervous about therapy, there's so much stigma around therapy. I love therapy. I think everybody should see a therapist, whether they are struggling with mental health or not. I just think it is such a wonderful thing for everybody struggles. And therapists don't have any like rules about, you know, you don't struggle enough to be here. You gotta find the right therapist for you, for sure. But therapy is just really great. So I definitely endorse therapy wholeheartedly, and I also endorse music wholeheartedly.
I don't know what I'll do without these mornings where the sun breaks free from the hold of the night, and I see the cedar, the towering empire. I find the balsam and the spruce are mine. When I'm alone, I'm alone. I'm alone. Birds, let me out in their thunders. I'll start a fire inside my heart. Carry the smoke along the river. Find my way back when I depart. I don't wanna leave this place where day gives way and shades of pink and gray and blue like ice. I don't wanna leave this place where mushrooms grow on layers of rock and my spirits hold on the grooves. Where leaves turn in shades of fire and gold. Leaves turn in shades of fire and gold. I guess if I must leave you somewhere with a woman and her plans, seems like it's right. She'll let you roam the garden while she's working. Wait for you to climb the stairs late at night. way.